John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Serious testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing the Black Widow Widowmaker. All right, thanks to a viewer who sent me these heads, I could test them out. I've heard some good things about them, so I'm eager to put them to the test, and especially all the tests that I'm doing for 2021. So I'm going to zoom on in here, go through some of the design features and specifications, and then let's see how the Widowmaker performs. Here's a good look at the Widowmaker, and you can see it's a really cool looking head and has some unique features. First of all, it's 4 blades, and the blades are each 1 1/4 inches. So the total cut is 2.5 inches. And then they've got this stout chisel tip. It's a hardened tool steel tip. And in one package, you can switch between 100 or 125 grain model. And the way they do that is providing 2 different tips. This tip makes it 100 grains. And when you put this tip on, it adds an extra 25 grains to it. So it's 125 grains in basically the same head. And I like that a lot more than the heads that add an extra weight in the O-ring. Because if they put another collar on there to add the weight, that doesn't really beef up the head in any way. But in this case, it does beef up the head, literally. You put on the 125 grain model tip there, and man, you've got a stout, hard tip right there in the front. And you're also increasing your FOC quite a bit because that extra weight is at the very tip of the broadhead. So that's a pretty cool design. The blades themselves are obviously steel blades. By my measurements, they're 0.029 inches thick, so relatively thin blades. The ferrule is a 7075 T6 aluminum, so that's a pretty stout aluminum. If you're going to use aluminum, that's a good aluminum to use. And with this blade over shaft design, it allows the ferrule to be extra short, which strengthens that ferrule as well. So that's kind of nice. And also the blade over shaft design allows for a wider cut in less of an area. It doesn't have to be as long of a broadhead in order to reach that cut. So I like a lot of things about this head. I'm eager to put it to the test and see how it performs. I'm going to test it for long-range flight, for edge sharpness and edge retention, for penetration and durability. Let's see how the Widowmaker performs. For 2021, I've made this edge retention test a bit more challenging. I'm not testing out of the box sharpness, but rather I'm just testing it after every 2 strokes of an arrow of Easton hex shaft rubbing over the edge to see how well it retains its edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, the Widowmaker cut paper after 6 strokes of the arrow. The Widowmaker penetrated 7 inches. The Widowmaker penetrated through 59 layers. Here's the Widowmaker after the first shot into the steel plate. And as for the head, it just lost one of the blades here, 2 of the blades. It's one piece, and it just was gone inside my target. And then the other one got dislodged and really mangled up as well. You can see the edge after just one shot. And as for the hole, you can see the hole is basically just the ferrule with 4 slits. Okay, it's not like a square hole. It's interesting to see different heads do that. Like if you look at the tooth of the arrow, it's going to make a complete square, whereas this puts 4 slits. It's really interesting how that happens. But unfortunately, the blades just didn't hold up. The ferrule was in good shape, and the tip was in very good shape. Here's the head after one shot into the steel plate. You can see it has a bit of a wobble. But not that bad because one of the blades came out and the other one's almost perfectly balanced there. Here's the Widowmaker 125 grain. after being shot into the concrete. Obviously, you can see that ferrule did not fare too well. The tip held up extremely well. Man, it looks pristine. But that aluminum ferrule really bent in that zero penetration test. So what'd you think of the Widowmaker? Man, there's some really cool things about it. I love the modularity of those tips, and to go to 100 or 125 grain, I love the nice big cut. I love that there's solid blades like that. So check out the score sheets, especially in the categories that matter to you the most, and compare it to other similar heads and see how it measures up.